Before we get stuck in, a quick word about today's sponsor, Cassie. Here's a question for you. Have you ever thought billboard advertising was way out of your league? Yeah, me too. It turns out it's not. Cassie lets you advertise on 1.5 million screens globally. Billboards, gyms, train stations, you name it. You get to pick the locations, set your budget, anything from £80, and only pay when your ad plays. No agencies, no negotiations, simple. I'm using it for the podcast and for my work with Villanova. Honestly, the process is so easy. If you want to try it, head over to my stand store. There'll be a link in the episode description and you can find out how easy it is. Right, back to the show. Hello and welcome to Get a Shift On, your podcast all about career change and business support, helping you understand there really is life after a job that no longer fulfills you. This week, I am really pleased to welcome along Kevin Matthew. We've been connected on LinkedIn by a mutual connection and indeed a previous guest. So thank you so much for coming along. I really appreciate it. Kevin started in education, but has done various things, reevaluated his life. Him and his wife have really looked at what they're doing and what they want to do in the future. They now have a business called Made at 94, which is a gift business, and indeed Made to Travel, a travel brand, which sounds really very exciting. And I look forward to hearing more about it. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. We were having a little chat beforehand about what's happening, where you're going. For all of my viewers and my listeners, let's go right back to the beginning. Where did it all start and how have you got to where you are today?
Well, it started right back at the beginning when, as probably most teenagers and people leaving school, not having a clue what we're wanting to do or wanting to be. And also the unfortunate, my grades weren't the best either. So I was kind of forced down one track, loved sport, loved PE, so went into sports. And the weird thing that happened was that doors started to kind of open as I was venturing down this college pathway. And that was the university said, oh, could we please have a university cohort for our first ever BSc honours, so a sports university degree. And so I put my hand up, as you do. I kind of normally just did that. I was a yes man, just put the hand up and off I went. So I went straight into third year, did my university degree, and then what next? So I travelled for a bit and then moved to Italy for 2 years. Taught English for the first 6 months and then landed a managerial job in sports camps, so your Euro camps in Florence and in Venice. So I just kind of toured around. And then the light bulb moment, wait a minute here, I'm doing these seasonal works, but I kind of need a real job. So came back home and I had three possibilities. I could be a policeman, I could go into the RAF, or I could be a teacher. Now, the problem I had with the first two is that I'm colourblind, so that was a no-go. So I decided to be a teacher, but the problem there was that Scottish Education said, actually, wait a minute, we've got enough teachers in the PE sector, so we're closing the doors. So off I went down to Brighton and did my university degree, became a teacher, worked in London for a few years, and then it wasn't kind of for me. Something wasn't right, but I did a master's degree just in between that. So I was able then to lecture at university on the education course, the education masters actually, that I'd previously done. But at the same time, starting a company called Fitness for Your Future, which was all around mind and body. And if I'm going to blow my own trumpet, it was quite advanced for there wasn't kind of anything out there using physical movement to actually educate kids. So getting kids up and active with the obesity epidemic in school time, but learning simple things like times tables, counting, numeracy, etc. And working with the NHS in terms of the large obesity programmes, that was going phenomenal. If I'm honest with you, it was massive. In London, with like various boroughs in London, but then the 2008 crisis hit and all funding got pulled. So thrown back into education and back to teaching, which, you've either got a passion for teaching or you don't. You need to be passionate because it's a difficult job. And like respect to all the people who are still there because it's ever changing. But that only lasted 7 months, if I'm honest with you, because my mum came down randomly. We were in Wormley at that point, just outside London. And we moved every 2 years, by the way. Every time we had a child, we seemed to move. Random, but anyway. And mum came down and went, well, Sam, my wife, you're really creative. Why don't you write a little heart and sell it on eBay? 7.5 months later, Christmas time, Sam's pregnant. 110 items a day we were selling. So I came back out of education 14 years later, and we've still got the gift company. But you mentioned made to travel, and I'm just going to be open and honest here. The last 3 years have been the most difficult of my life. Yes, we've had a really successful gift company with staff and premises and stuff, but post-COVID and the economy and different factors like external companies in China infiltrating the UK market, etc. We're an e-commerce site. 3 years ago, it just went like that, and it would not stop. It just wouldn't stop. And every year we were like, I was saying to my wife, what's going on? It's got a plateau at some point. It's got a plateau at some point. And it just never did. And to be honest, it's still not. It's still not. So yeah, we've got it. But last year was probably the lowest point. I'd imagine I was in probably a deep depression if I didn't go to therapy. But I'd imagine looking back on it, it was like looking at a brick wall. And you'd wake up at 1 a.m. and you see nothing. You'd just see nothing. And you were looking, you're searching, how can I get my family? And it starts to eat and eat and eat away at you. Emotional, you know? And we got this phone call, right? And people say, oh, this pivotal moment, right? And yeah, but you got this phone call. Yeah, we got this phone call. And it was from Sam's really close friend from down south. Sam's English. So we were here. And Kate, who's a sergeant in the Met Police full-time, said, have a look at this presentation. Please have a look at this. I think she knew what was going on with us as well. And she went, it could just change your life. Thumbs up. Kim, go through the bedroom. I'll keep the kids. Have a look at that laptop and look. It's a 20-minute presentation, right? And it was on this thing called travel and this travel platform. And yeah, you could become a travel agent, but there's this business side to it that can scale. Close the laptop down, David. Honestly, I walked through the room, put it down, and bear in mind that we are plummeting here, right? We didn't have any money coming in. I said, Sam, we need to sign up now. Seriously, you know, it's an emotional thing about it, but we need to do it now. The next day, we'd signed up. The next day, she'd done her training. I took the kids away. The day after she did, it's like 4 hours training to become ATO and ABT and ATO, right? That's for the travel agent side of it. 2 weeks later, she'd booked a holiday for a client. How did that happen? To the Maldives, and we got £600 commission, and it saved us. Sorry. And then, yeah, and then it went like that, and it's gone like that. But it's just made me really think to myself, David. It's just after it came out, it was like that. The doors had opened, right? And actually, I could see something. I could see something that, wait a minute, there is something we can do. There is a way out here. But I also switched something in my mind and with Samson. What are we doing here? Building this business up and previously building that other business up. What do we want out of life? Like, truly, we've got 4 kids, we've got 3 under 12. I'm working all the hours under the sun, but not getting paid any more money. At that point, we weren't getting paid hardly anything. We'd pay the staff first, and then, you know, what are we doing here? And we decided, wait a minute, no, enough's enough. Enough's enough. We are going to live for us, and we're going to build something for us. Not build something, but actually that residually comes in. We don't need to do the work more than once, and it's coming, and it's residually coming, which means it comes in every single month, no matter what you do. And we are going to educate our kids across the world on life, on business and on culture. And that's where we are today. In 2027, February at the latest, I want to go in January, but February at the latest, we head to Colombia, and the kids will be learning Spanish, etc. And we'll world school them, and we'll travel, and that good. After that, doesn't matter.
Thank you for sharing that, Kevin, because obviously quite an emotional journey, and clearly things were not good. And when you hit that absolute low, be it financial, mental, career, family, it's so hard. And I think lots of people are probably actually in depression, but don't necessarily are not able to admit it. And that's when they get stuck in it. Clearly, you've found something to bring yourself out of that. And it's so exciting. And I can see the passion on your face and the joy. And through those tears, actually, that's the bit that really counts. You know, when you're absolute bottom, what is it that you can do to bring yourself out of that and really make a difference? Look, roll on 2027. It sounds like that's going to be such an excitement. And your children will have the best and most rounded education and experience, I think, that they will ever have. And certainly more so than if they were stuck here in a school. And that you know education and also your path involved that major career shift from being secondary school teacher, lecturer, etc., into, I guess, full-time entrepreneurship. In that time, if we just put the last kind of couple of years to one side, what was the biggest challenge you faced during that career transition? And how has your background in education helps you build those systems?
Well, I can tell you a couple of challenges and a couple of learnings that I've experienced. And actually, my wife Sam and I look back on it, and she's always right when she says these things. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. She went, no, we need to do this. No, it'll be fine, Sam. It's honestly, fitness for your future could have been, like, I would say, could have been countrywide, Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales. It could have been huge. We developed DVDs and education programs. I actually found, I created like a workbook manual. We had, I think, about 12 to 15 instructors going out into schools across London, right? We had massive contracts with different school authorities, not the individual schools. The authorities would bring this in to educate and to motivate to move, right? The mistake, the error, massive on me, is I thought, do you know what you can do, Kevin, right? You can go out and you can do a couple of schools, do all the baseline research, right? And I mean, I'm a motivational person. I run off energy, okay? But not everybody is. People have got internal motivation. Calm. I'm like, whoa. Massive mistake I made was I thought I could write a manual, right? Give videos for the instructors, do maybe a half-day training, and off they go. And I'll go out and get all the contracts. But where was the plan, do, review, I call it, in the business? So I planned it, I did it, but I never reviewed it. I had all these boroughs around Scotland, right? And the phone calls came in. What about this? What about this? And, oh, that'll be fine. We'll keep building. So that's one of the learnings. To anybody out there, that review stage, you have to be always in it. You have to always look to better it, because life happens, evolution happens, AI's happening now, you know? So we're starting to use AI for, you know, for everyday tasks, really, about what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And review, plan it, great. Do it, yes. Review it, repeat. That would be my first, my first tip, my first mistake I made, which was a major one. Do you know what I mean? Challenge is always staff. So in my other business, so they were external instructors, so they invoiced me. But when we made it 94, we at one stage we had up to 7 staff. So it's managing that element of staffing and that culture and building that culture was one of our. And do you know what I thought? I nailed it, to be quite honest with you. I thought We use something called lean manufacturing. If you don't know about it, basically what it does is you strip everything down to its core value. So, for example, if you are making a cup of tea, you walk across to the cupboard and you get the cup and you pull the cup. Then you walk across to the other cupboard and you get the tea bag and you put the tea bag. You walk across to the other corner of the room and you get the kettle. But wait a minute here. So you've walked there, you've walked there, you've walked there. What if we put it all in the same spot, right? So you boil the kettle, you take the tea bag down, yeah, you take the cup down, put the tea bag in the cup and you pour it. And so that's what we kind of did in our business. We used that process. So for me, that was a massive learning. And for anybody doing that sort of thing, whether it could be anything, it doesn't need to be physical. It could be, where are you keeping your files on your computer? Do you know what I mean? What boxes are they in? What folders are they in? Reducing the processing time that I've whittled on.
I love that as well. And I think that's so many people will recognize that trait, actually, I think. And as do I. I will often think, right, I must sit down and organize my filing structure on my laptop a little bit better than it is. So when I go somewhere, I do this and I do that instead of here, there, everywhere. Yeah, something I certainly recognize. And then I have a moment of inspiration where I actually think, I've already done that. I am actually ahead of the game and I put things where I think they should be logically, but I forget that I've been logical and therefore spend ages still looking for them. So if we can come up with a way to solve that brain issue, then I am more than happy to hear it. And I was really interested to hear you talk about the plan, do, and review, because I think that review bit is absolutely crucial. And when we do anything actually in business, I think it's great we just smash it out. We do it and we think because we've had a little bit of success that we can just repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, and just keep doing it. And then things start to slow down. And that's when you kind of go, what's going on? Why am I not doing it? I've got this great product service. It fits for everybody, but we forget the review bit and we forget to go back and, as you say, review what's happening and how can we make it better? Because actually that first attempt is never perfect. It's never spot on, but it is, we've gone with it. We've done it. We're going, we're moving forward. We just forget to then look back and review. And I think for so many people, that is that missing step. And clearly for you, having that review has made a whole lot of difference to you.
Huge. Oh, huge. In terms of, this is quite a pronounced, I suppose, a pivotal point in my learning is that I feel that everything running up, every single thing that I've learned and I did and I've made mistakes to, every single thing is this made to travel. It's like I can now see everything I've done in that past. Like, I'll give you an example. Leaflet. Oh yeah, make a leaflet. That's fantastic. Get it printed out and hand it out. And then forget what's on the leaflet because you've got a leaflet, haven't you? You've got a leaflet. No, you've got a leaflet and you've done it. You've planned it. Then you've made it. Yeah, you did it and you've used it. Okay. But was it 100% great? Ours wasn't. So we've reviewed that and we've asked for feedback from customers, families, friends, and they've went, oh yeah, but look at your logo. Why isn't it on the other side? What does that mean? The review part, everything I've done before, the mistakes on not going and reviewing my instructors, it's all brought me to this point in time. And I know that this is it. I know that this is the last thing now. And it's quite a, profound thing to say, but I just do. Before it was all the learning that's brought it into here. But that review element is the most crucial point, I feel.
And I think looking at that positivity of moving forward, and this is the last thing you're going to do, which I might come back to in a minute, because I kind of hope it isn't, because you've got a lot of energy and a lot of passion. So I'm sure something else will come, but let's stick with it. It is, for now, what you're going to do. So many people would look back on a career such as yours and think, oh, I've wasted my time. I've wasted my time as a teacher. I've wasted my time as a lecturer. I've done Fitness for Your Future, all of that. And it's just a bit of a waste because now I'm doing something completely different. And to hear that positivity around it and understand that actually none of that is wasted time. It's all a learning. It's building on those blocks. And just because your degree is in teaching doesn't mean that travel is any less important or has any less bearing on that. And I think that's the trap that so many people fall into. And certainly those from my point of view who are stuck in a career see it as, oh, that's just a waste of time. If I change my career, if I start a business, it's a waste of time. You have clearly blended education, health, and innovation all together, much as I have. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. How important do you think that blend is for resilience, growth, and for growing a business in today's environment?
I think for any sector or any business, if you are, and this isn't for everybody, but in the general sense of things, if you are engulfed into that one area, you've got that tunnel, right? But the way I look at it is I'm using the things I've learned in education, the mistakes I've made with my Fitness for Your Future, the same mistake, learning curves that I've made with that, the lean manufacturing and I've pulled it in, but because they're different, they're traits and different abilities and different what's the word, learnings. But because it's from different sectors, it's like cross-sector learning, isn't it? The more people can actually look to another industry, and that's where some of the breakthroughs happen. If you look at some of the breakthroughs in life and inventions and things, it's cross-sector, looking at what that person's doing in that other sector. And wait a minute, what similarities can I bring? So my education, we've got a lovely supportive for all the team, my Made to Travel team. It's second nature to me to nurture them and grow them. But the other people who've come in another team, another travel team, for example, in the same company, they won't have that skill set. They might, but I've pulled everything in, and I feel it's vital to narrow-minded is not a nice terminology, but what I mean is like closed. Don't close yourself in. Even the audiobooks I'm listening to I'd never think I'd listen to those types of subject, neuroplasticity. That's what I'm on at the moment. Like the openness and, anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but you know what I mean. Just be open. One word of advice is take that step back. Just be open to learn. And it's amazing what you'll pull in.
Absolutely key is being open and not, we'll say, narrow-minded and closed. Because when you open yourself up, you bring so much in and you attract a very different energy from people as well. If you always stay closed in that box, you never find what's really out there and the excitement that you can have. And actually, even down to what's going to happen with you and your children moving forward, the experience that they are going to have from being in a different culture, immersed in a different language, that is just so powerful. And they will take that with them actually forever. Whatever happens, whether that's a good trip, a bad trip, they will have that and they will know how important it is. And those skills that they will learn from that are absolutely vital moving forward. So you said you're off to Colombia. That's pretty awesome. And there any other places that are on the list so far?
Well, I mean, I've started ChatGPT, obviously, is our best friend at the moment. So we've got, I think it's 14 months maximum to plan it. Colombia, through to Peru. So we're going to do 2 or 3, I think we might do 2 or 3 months in Colombia, go in city, and then after, I think it's March, April time, you've got to go north to the coastal area for beach, and then across to Peru. We're going to follow the sun element of that, and then down towards Argentina, and then across. Minimum of 6 to 9 months in South America. I want the kids to be, we're learning Spanish at the moment. I've been learning Spanish for a few years, and the kids have been doing it just over a year. So I want to immerse them. They will be fluent by the time we leave. We've got structured activities as well for the kids. So we're really, It's not just about, we're going traveling. No, this is a life learning move we're doing. Twice a week Spanish lessons. Edison will have his football camps, mini gymnastics. Remy will be creative crafts. And then World School will kick in as well. But here's a good question for you, right? Because as an educator, what percentage of the school day do children learn the key fundamental, and this isn't a dig, by the way, this is life, right? You know, you've got a whole school day, but school's about more than just, numbers and words, right? It's about socializing. It's about that institution. So that's my question as well. 1 to 2 hours of learning a day, yeah, that's great. My kids will be they'll have learned about culture and about dealing with people and dealing with problems and dealing with situations, real life,
It's the education system in this country certainly is broken. I don't want to get into any major dig, as you say, about that, but I think we can agree, as will many other people, that the education system in this country is broken. And what that leads on to is that the workplace for many people is also broken. Because what we're trying to do is fit us all into a one size fits all box. So we go to school, we're taught in a certain way, which doesn't suit everybody. We're taught that there is a direction that we should go in. Then we end up in work. And again, we are then put into a corporate box more often than not, where we work 9 to 5. 9 to 5 doesn't really work for anyone. And you asked the question, what percentage of time do children actually learn? And I would say, also on top of that, what percentage of a 9 to 5 day are people truly working? Because I know when I was in that environment, I would go into work and I traveled lots. So when I went back to the office, it was slightly different. But I would have my coffee. I would go and speak to everyone that I hadn't seen for ages because I'd not been in the office very often. I'd submit my expenses. I'd have lunch. I'd probably pop out for lunch. And I might do a bit of work, a couple of calls, and then it's time to go. Now, that is not a productive 9 to 5 environment. And I think so many people get stuck in that. And again, what you are offering yourselves and your children with that wider world experience is breaking free from, I guess, that social norm that we are so stuck in. And that will be incredible. And the result of that for you and for your children will be lifelong. And they'll be so prepared for the changing world, because by the time they are our age, who knows where things will be, but it certainly won't be where we are now, and life will look very different.
Well, you've just hit the nail on the head, like seriously. So just to give you a little bit of background about, we're building this travel business. I love education. Some of the team have been high. Well, Julie, for example, has been very, very high up in a university doing business and all sorts of work around the whole staff element. And we've just done our first one. We are currently delivering educational training sessions to the college, Dundee and Angus College, hair and beauty, business, travel and tourism, and sports. And the theme is, are you ready? The world of work is changing. That is the theme, because having talked to numerous 20 to 30-year-olds, we predominantly talked to them about, do you use a travel agent, right? It was a bit of background, a bit of research around the world, the word travel agent. And that answer was no, they don't. The majority of them don't use a travel agent anymore. Read into that what you want for the future, right? Hence our business. But these people do not want to be in a 9 to 5 job. They want freedom. They aren't as money focused as the institutional kind of education of was battered into you when you were younger, and when probably more grandparents and great-grandparents, right? We are delivering the fact that there's another way you can work. You can build up. You can work for yourself. You can work for a company that potentially pays you for your effort. You know, like here's the buzzword, network marketing, for example. Right? The old school, though, that was like, don't be doing that. You watch in 5 to 10 years, people don't want to be boxed in anymore. And you're going to see it because the 20-year-olds, honestly, they are pushing. And also, there was a lecture that I went to, and he was speaking about how the world of work is changing and the fact that businesses are going to, and big corporates are going to start putting baseline salaries with targets. You meet the target, you get your bonus, and then the following year they put the target up and they squeeze it and they squeeze it and they squeeze it and they squeeze it. I'm talking UK here, I don't know globally, but I just, the world of work is changing, David. Simple as that. But what do we do?
It really is. And I've seen that in my career, and I see it in my children. My eldest is 15, and I see what they're learning and actually what they're not learning, more importantly. And I still find it quite fearful that there is a mismatch in the society, which is expanding and growing and changing so quickly, but the education system isn't. So when you talk about 20, 30-year-olds, they are going to have multiple careers and they're going to want to choose what they do. They will not want to be set by targets. Now, some people, and thank goodness in a way, will always be in that corporate or a structured employment role. And that's great. And that's the way it should be because we need those people. But for those who it doesn't fit and it doesn't work for, have to break out and look for something different and ways. And like you're saying, to create a second income stream, certainly around a busy life.
This is Cassie, where all the world's billboards are just a few clicks away. Find your favorites on a map, add them to your campaign, and off you go. So whether you're a small business or large enterprise, if your brand has grand aspirations, take it beyond the feed and onto the streets with Cassie.
So tell me a little bit more about how the Made to Travel platform actually works, and what are some of the initial steps that people could look at, either to join a business like that or even looking at the Made at 94. What steps would you suggest people take in order to do that?
Well, the Made at 94 model is e-commerce, right? So I have to make that Christmas sleigh in the corner, that hanging sign there, that medal holder, that grandparent gift, that order's come in, right? I have to make that and send that out. If I don't do that, I won't get that money in. That money comes in, I have to do it again. We go to work. You go into on the Monday, you go in on the Tuesday, but you don't go in on the Wednesday. We don't get paid then for the Wednesday, right? But with the Made to Travel, it's all about building something, and then the benefits will then come on a monthly basis. So basically what it is, it's a travel platform. It's network marketing model in the 21st century, if you know what I mean. The company's been going for over 30 years. It's a travel agency. And it basically, and I hit on this point earlier, right? 20 and 30-year-olds, they don't use travel agents. They do it themselves. Here's one for you, right? Remember Blockbusters?
Yeah.
Remember Blockbusters, don't we? You walked in there, you drove there, you walked in, you had to look at the VHS. Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. The Goonies, we'll get the Goonies, right? Great. We'll take it home, plug it in your VHS machine, watch it, rewind it back, take it back after 1 to 2 days. 48 hours potentially was the max. If you did that, if you'd got it after, you got away fine. But then this internet thing came about. And then Netflix went, well, do you know what? I mean, I know there's a wee backline story, but in essence, Netflix went, actually, let's do this online. Blockbusters no more. Netflix is massive. You just pay a monthly subscription, a small amount every month, and you can look at all of the films you want under the sun, documentaries, whatever you want. Remember Thomas Cook? Right. So we went on holiday to Tenerife when we were 18. We opened the book up. Oh, that hotel looks all right. You walked across to the wee kiosk bit. She sat you down, and then, oh, right, there's your holiday book. Thanks very much. Internet came around. Booking.coms and Airbnbs and Expedia, right? 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they just go there. They just do it themselves. We are the Netflix of travel. That's what it is. You become your own independent travel agent. Now, whether you want to do that for your own travel, which, like, we've got millionaires that use the platform. We've got stuntmen. We've got solicitors, accountants, a whole array of people, right? Just for their own travel. Just because somebody's a millionaire doesn't mean they don't want to save money, right? In fact, that's probably how they got there in the first place.
Absolutely.
For their own travel, they can go in. It's partnered up with all the major Booking.coms, Expedia. It's got all of that. It's a business in a box, right? But a nice box, not a corporate box. There's no quotas. You don't need to do anything. It's just for yourself. It's a subscription model. So you don't want to do it in 6 months' time. You just press delete. There's no contracts, right? Netflix model. Or, like we were saying about multiple jobs. So in Dundee Angus and Perth, we've got a bit of a targeted strategy, and it's just because hairdressers and beauty therapists, for example, they've already got a client base, haven't they? Oh, what are you doing today? Oh, where are you off to your holiday? Oh, I've not booked it yet. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, do you know? I could help you. Done. They could either do it as a part-time job. So the platform enables you to do it, to use it how you want, whether it be for your own travel. You are a fully ABTA and ATOL protected travel agent, so you can book your friends and your families. Or, like I'm doing, I want to set my kids free, right? So once I become a director in this company, which is 100 people in your organization, all of my income is willable. So I sign our will and everything we earn, and all that is based on me sharing the platform. And that's what network marketing is about. The company doesn't have an advertising cost, but it's a beautiful product because everybody loves to travel. And all I'm doing is saying, look what we are using. Do you want to see it? That's it. But once those people see what it is and love it for their own travel or as a business, every month I get a little thank you. And in 2027, I will have enough little thank yous that I will take my children to Colombia and they will have the best life they can ever have. Network marketing. End of story.
And do you think that's the way, do you think network marketing is the way that businesses will go in the future?
I don't think that you touched on this point, David, every business won't. Your staple diet, your teachers and your police and your solicitors and your accountants and things, that's institutionalized. That's what my definition of institutionalized is. You're in an institution. You're an institution that provides a service that you need to go to university for, and you need to do that training, right? But more and more companies are using the network marketing model, and all that is, right, is I'm not Coca-Cola and I'm not going to put billions of pounds of advertising costs across the world globally to reach my audience. The best form of advertising is word of mouth advertising, and we know that. All that these companies are doing, and it's beginning to grow, is they are jumping onto that fact of, oh, wow. And they're using people like me who, I love to travel, right? I've always done it. So I've got a travel platform here. It's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Well, wait a minute. I've got travel. Why don't I just talk to that person about it then? And people in beauty, skincare, nutrition. I was on a course the other day, and it's every form, not just about the beauty in the travel industry. It's all industries are starting to kick on board. I think for me, it's going to blow up, but it's how the message is put across and how people access that is the sticking point at the moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to play devil's advocate then, because there's obviously a lot of people who are quite negative about network marketing because they may have had a bad experience. And there are lots of, there's lots of opportunities out there for people. I think some people have dabbled, and look, there's loads and loads of business and lots of businesses that work very well with it. What do you see as the downside of network marketing, and how do you get people to come around when it's just a pyramid scheme, for
Love it.
example?
So the beauty of this is, and this came from, I was just on a weekend long training with a guy called Eric Worre. The positive is that word pyramid scheme, and I'll go into what that actually means in a second. The whole cloud over this network marketing was back in the 70s, right? But that genre of people, if you talk to a 20 or 30-year-old, they don't know what that means. They've not got any clue. I'm in my 40s, right? I'm 47-year-old. I vaguely know. So to answer that question, number one, it's going out the window. That's kind of on its way out. There's no real need for me to try and combat that, because the amount of people I talk to, probably about 2 out of 10 say, is that like a pyramid scheme? But this is the good one. They actually don't know what a pyramid scheme is, right? So the 2 people out of 10 are genuinely just hearing this word that they've heard vaguely in the past. Pyramid scheme. Right. But so just to clarify, do you know the definition of pyramid scheme? And this is what I would say. So there's actually nothing that the person's selling. There's no product. It's invisible. It never existed in the first place, right? So we've got a travel platform that physically exists. So it's impossible. And then I say to them, we cannot be ABTA and ATOL accredited. It is impossible for a third company in the UK to be ABTA and ATOL accredited. That's the second thing. And then the third thing is, have a look at Tesco's. So a pyramid is like that, right? Who's at the top of that pyramid? Right, the CEO. Right, okay. Can the shelf stacker earn more than the CEO? Impossible. All right, okay. What about the manager? Nah. That's institutional organizations are pyramids. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And this is my own thing, by the way. I'm going to claim this. We are what I like to call an X, right? And this is purely me. This is my thought, right? I've not seen this anywhere, David, right? But I try to kind of conceptualize, what does it actually look like? Right. Look at the X, right? There's the X here, right? See right in the middle there? See that point there, right? Well, let's say that's Kate, who's we call it an upline. She introduced me. She gave me that phone call. I was in bits. She opened my curtains, right? I have introduced more people to the business than Kate. So where am I on that X? No. I'm up here. I'm going up there. If Kate didn't do anything else with the company, then she'll fall down the X. She'll fall down that X. Network marketing is an effort-based business, right? It's not easy. It's not hard. It's just an effort-based business. The only difference is you don't need a 30-year career to make a lot of money out of it. 3 to 5.
I think that's a very good way of looking at it and overcoming some of the objections that I know people will have. And I think business is changing as a whole, and there is an effort required. And I think there's an effort required for any business, of whatever that business looks like. And I think a lot of people will start businesses, whatever, wherever, however, but with an attitude that it's easy to do and easy to get customers, business, and to make money. And I think social media has played a massive part in that, because as ever, we see these super successful people, or that we perceive to be successful, who have thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of views, but we have no idea what the effort was that they put in to get there, and nor do we know actually what real success looks like for them. How do you think social media has changed you and changed the way you operate compared to when you first started all the way back with your training DVDs?
Well, number one, I was never on social media. I am a very private person. I know I'm on a podcast, and I know, but that's my 2026 goal is to, is to put myself out there a lot more, because just giving you to your point, without social media, unfortunately, it's very, very difficult for people to see you. Yeah. What the problem you've got with social media, and you've identified it already, is that these people that pull up in the flash cars and they say, oh yeah, do this because it's really easy and look at me. What went on before that? Like the effort base, and it's the 20-year-old plus, that kind of change in age and in influence. I think that they now know that. But the transitions, my daughter's 27, right? Her age range was right in the thick of the depth of nothingness, of no clue, and people were jumping on, and us as parents didn't even know. So to answer the question, I think it was a big issue. People saying, oh, this is really easy. Look at me, I've got a Lamborghini. But because it's evolved so much, that the new genre of is plus, they kind of recognize that. I mean, my sons have they have discussions over, do you think that's AI or not? So there's the next evolution of it, right? AI generated content, and they're now their brains, and this would be quite interesting to kind of look back on in 5 to 10 years' time. A 10-year-old and a 12-year-old are now learning how to distinguish between the AI subtleties, because my grandparents might look at that and be fooled. But the human body brain is untapped. We have the ability to evolve. And I think that's what's happening. We are evolving, and social media is just playing a different part, and will play a different part. And I think for the better and for the worse, but we will be able to kind of focus on there. I just want to go back to one point as well about the influencers in social media. That is also and was a potential issue for that network marketing arena, because it's such a low barrier of entry. To get fully trained and apt and ATOL protected, it's 156 quid. And then you've got a little subscription every month, and that's it. To start a business, right? The average business in a year, you're talking 20 grand. I mean, I'm just putting a figure out there, right? It's probably more. If you put the whole thing and averaged it out, right? Say 10 to 20 grand just for an easy number. But that's the issue, because you've got these people online saying, this is really easy, join here and you'll make millions. Everything's effort-based. If you're an accountant, it's effort-based. If you're a PT instructor, it's effort-based. If you work in the healthcare system, it's all effort-based. Everything's effort-based. Life is effort-based. But because it's 156 quid entry, they can jump in and they can quite easily jump out. And it doesn't really matter. And that's the one dilemma for network marketing, because there's a small amount of time it takes to be successful, but you still have to put a business-related effort into it.
I think the effort is key there, actually. And I say that because you can actually start a business with very little. Yes, if you want to go big and you have some big ideas and you need a lot of kit, or you want to get big on advertising or create, these things are very intensive. And that's where you start to look at yearly kind of 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand startup costs to start with. Excuse me, my counter to your point there would actually be that you can start a business for practically nothing. We are so fortunate that we live in an environment and a society where we have that social media as a platform, we have technology at our fingertips, be it ChatGPT or anything like that, we can start and create business now. The key to it all, whether you are paying the £156 or whether you're paying a small subscription fee to Replit or one of the other platforms where you can pretty much create anything you want, or indeed just getting out posters. You want to start a cleaning business? I've been there, I've done that. I just created a load of flyers. It's very low barrier to getting started. And I think that's what people want. Whatever it is, though, and whatever frame that looks like, it is absolutely the effort that you have to put in. And I think that is the bit that sometimes gets missed. And again, regardless of the platform, regardless of how you're doing it, if you are not putting in that effort, you absolutely will not get that return back. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle from that step up or a change from a corporate employed role to a self-employed role. Because when you are employed, actually your effort can be quite low. Now I'm not saying that people don't work hard, but actually you can work at whatever kind of level you want and you are going to get your salary. If you're really, really crap at your job, you'll get fired. If you're bonus driven, then you don't get your bonuses. But ultimately, you can work in a mediocre kind of way. When you are self-employed, you have no choice but to have maximum effort the majority of the time. Otherwise, you don't go anywhere and you end up failing. And that's the bit that really is the clincher. Whatever type of business it is, you have to put in that effort. How do you manage that blend of all those businesses and all the bits and pieces that you're doing with your family life? Because that's the bit that I think sometimes people really struggle with.
That, and I do, that is one thing that Sam says to me, and that was said to me past tense as the kids were growing up. You need to spend time, come away from the business, but you felt drawn into it. And it's that kind of time, family time, work, the family work ethic kind of balance. But that's what changed in us, because we did recognize that. And that's where the travel platform has enabled that balance. And that's where in 2027, which is only it's 13, 14 months away. That's not a long time. That's going to come round. That's why we're doing it. That's why, because we want, I don't know whether it's me or whether it's, because you've touched on it as well, David, that, yeah, the world of work is changing, right? But do you not feel that there's an air of change around kind of the way people are feeling? People are just tired. People are tired of that effort-based element. And we've had a massive change in our thought process, and it's all been directed toward family, because I haven't had enough. I worked from home I left teaching in a sense to be, like with Edison, I took him to swimming every day while Sam did the writing of the plaques. I would do the night shift. I spent all day with him, but as the business grew and my salary didn't grow, but the business grew and the stress grew and the less time with my family grew, and that's all changing now. So I find it hard just to answer your question, but I'm sure people who I've spoken to are feeling that same way. It's like life is a bit like a slug, it's like, come on, got to keep moving at the moment. And we're changing it. We're just knocking it on the head. That's why we're getting out.
And there is an air of change without any question at all. I think people are understanding that it doesn't all have to be work, work, work. I think that for you, I, and for other entrepreneurs in the self-employed sector, if we can front load some of the hard work, sacrifice bits and pieces that we're going to have to make that wider and larger effort for the end results where we get to spend maximum time with our family, with our children. So you're off traveling. For me, and I've said it 100 times, school runs are absolute sacrosanct for me. I miss one school run a week when I have my kids, unless I can't shift something. but I will go out of my way to make sure that I am there to take my kids to school and pick them up at the end of the day. Now, for me, that means I have to work late in the night sometimes, but that's fine. I have no problem with that. And I think it's vital that people understand and recognize it's not about when you work, it's how you work. So I will not work when my kids are here from school. When they go to bed, if I still have stuff to do, I will work then. But that's a sacrifice that I make and a choice that I make because I want to be here. I want to be present when they are here. And we want to do things together. So I'll take them out after school. We'll do whatever it has to be. Again, this is reality. And sometimes I have to have a call at 3:30. I have to have a meeting because other people can't make it. But I will do all I can in my power to schedule my life around my absolute why, which is my kids. And I think that's the bit that people have to see and understand is when you are self-employed, again, whatever sector, however that looks, you are in control. And for me, that is the number one reason I will never be employed again. As well, because I'm a complete pain in the ass and no one would ever want to employ me. But I want the control and I want to be able to choose when I work, when I don't work, how I work, and the work that I want to do. That 9 to 5 is long gone. I am in control of how I work and when I.
Well, you seem to be just tapping into my head here because when you were with what you're saying, excuse me, you said the words front load your work to get something in the future, okay? And that is a key differentiation between the network marketing model, right, and your traditional model of offering a service, being paid for the service, and then having to offer a service again to be paid again, right? To give you an example, I've been in this business for a year in January, mid-Jan, right? 1 year. My wife started last year, and then I joined in January when I could not join. In January, February, and March this year, I am going to what you called front load. I'm going to work, and everybody knows it. I've told everybody, my kids, my wife, I said, I am going to run. Now, the front load element is the difference that network marketing has. And what I mean by that is I'm going to have those 3 months, okay? And I'm going to work hard. But see those 3 months, then 9 months after that, I will have the residual income will be coming through the door. That work that I did then will pay me then and will pay me when I'm in Colombia, in Peru, in Ecuador, in Argentina. Do you know? Front loading. And that's the difference because if you're front loading, you're a hairdresser, you're still going to need to front load again if you want that same amount of money. Difference.
I think
massive.
It's about setting those expectations. And like you say, you told your family, you told your friends, this is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to work. And I don't actually think that's not unique actually to network marketing. I understand what you're saying about hairdressers, etc. That's absolutely right. You know, there is a repetition that you have to do, but all businesses have that cycle where you can do it. So hairdressers, school holidays. At some point, there is going to be, I go into my hairdresser to get my hair cut. I know if I go anywhere in school holidays, it's absolutely ran with kids having their haircuts done. But if I go on a Monday morning, I'm pretty sure that there's not going to be that many people in there. I'm fairly safe. So I think you're right. I'm sure network marketing has that where you can push it and then you get that residual income. But I think there are lots of other examples where you can have repetitive income through that. But it is about that expectation saying, right, I am just going to work here and now, and I'm going to smash it out for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, whatever it looks like, in order for us to be able to go and do the great things that we want to do. In the summer, we want to go skiing, wherever that travel looks like. I think that's set those expectations with your friends, with your family, and actually indeed with yourself, because then you know the work and the effort that you have to put in to get the results that you want.
Yeah, I think though, kind of coming back on that front load, and yeah, there are many ways in which you can front load and then gain the benefits, but from the network marketing companies or from that model, in a traditional business, you work till you retire, you keep going, and then you get that small pension in the end. Whereas network marketing divides that by 10. So 3 to 5 years of And we put this effort word, get that right in the middle there, because without that, you can just put everything to the side and forget it and bin it and just walk away. 3 to 5 years of that front load of that work and effort, or 30 years. And that's the change. And that's why network marketing in the future will become more of a household, but it's just how they get it in. And that's a point that I would love to, I need to make. That's the only reason we can do what we are doing. We know our budget per month, and I know that in 14 months, I'll have bypassed that. Not because I'm guessing, because that's what it is. That is what the model shows me. And all of my peers and Sam's friends are doing that now. So I know that.
Yeah, and I think it's so true. And nobody wants to work all that life to then retire on pittance. And actually, that's when you really end up living a life that isn't the one you want, because it's too late.
Time and life. We get one of them, and what do you want to do with yours? And that's just that's not. I'm not having to dig at anybody. I'm not trying to say you know what you're doing, wasting your life away. Because some people will want to do that and love doing that, but it's just not me. Just not me. I need to do this.
I always say it. I come from a clinical background. I was a radiographer, and I knew probably year 2 of my degree that I wasn't going to stay around doing it forever. I knew that. But thank goodness there are radiographers who stay and tread the floorboard, as it were, for the whole of their career. Because without them, and without lots of other people doing those tasks that people like you and I don't want to, we're never going to get anywhere.
Yes.
Kevin, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating. Let me just finish by asking you, where is the hottest travel destination right here, right now? Where should I be looking at going in 2026?
Well, Scotland made the World Cup, so I'm going to say Mexico, Canada, or the USA.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. Well, that's good, because I'm hoping to go to Canada next year myself. Kevin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your thoughts and your wisdom. All your information is so good, and I've really enjoyed hearing about your journey all the way back from that early start in teaching to where you are now. And I wish you, Sam, and the kids all the absolute best moving forward. I look forward to hearing about what happens when you head to Colombia in 2027. Kevin, thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best.
Thanks for having me.